Well, the next thing we got on here is a bit of a philosophical debate, less of a hard science thing. The notion that are statins keeping us fat? This came from an opinion piece published in The Lancet, which I didn't realize they had opinion pieces in Lancet, but apparently they do.
Yeah.
It's in the diabetes and endocrinology portion of Lancet. And the lead author was Naveed Sattar, professor of metabolic medicine at the University of Glasgow. And he said, quote, better treatments like statins and blood pressure tablets are indirectly helping to fuel the obesity crisis. It is a brilliant success that people are being kept alive for longer so that someone who might have died at 60 from a stroke or heart attack is living until the age of 75. But if weight is not discussed, that person could end up with multiple health problems linked partly to being overweight and on dozens of different drugs. Okay, so what is the argument here? What is it that he's suggesting?
I believe he's just suggesting essentially that people feel like taking a statin is basically liberty to be unhealthy. That they feel like if they can just take this pill, that their cholesterol will come down, that there's supposed to be all these other benefits that their doctor talked to them about, and that as long as they're taking this, eating a little bit extra, exercising a little less, all those things are going to be okay because they're taking a statin. And there's probably, an 80 or 90% chance that they're also taking a blood pressure pill. You know what I mean? That they feel like they're being fixed by some of these pills. That's the way I took it.
Yeah. Okay. So if statins or blood pressure pills or what have you weren't in the picture, if that wasn't an option, we're going back, 50 years, what would the recommendation be from a doctor should your cholesterol come back high?
Yeah, I don't know. I think you both know, like, these are the kind of things like I semi have a problem with, which is why we're talking about it.
That is why we're talking about it.
But yeah, I think generally like the premise is a little bit flawed. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know. In theory, if we do go back all those years, I think what you would find is that, less people were alive.
Well, right.
Like,
but I mean, what would the doctor say in that situation?
Yeah. And the other part of the kind of the flawed premise is that doctors, they're ignoring this. There's no guidelines for obesity, for how to lose weight and all those kind of things. Those things are all there. Generally, doctors are recommending that, at least, the ones that we know and see. It's just, the problem is it's just harder to get those things into action. It's harder to find sustainable weight loss. It's hard to, adhere to an exercise plan for a multitude of reasons. This is the prime example of a can of worms.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but I think it's just still could be a possible reason why then people just feel like, well, I'm doing the pill, so I'm okay. Do you know what I mean? I guess that's all. That's all. And then to link it to something possibly scientific, I did find this actually came out of the Mayo Clinic. They say here that statins decrease leptin expression in human white adipocytes. So if leptin is responsible for inhibiting hunger, and you're decreasing what inhibits hunger, there could actually be a mechanism.
Okay, so you're talking about a direct link.
Yes.
I don't think that was the point of the article. No. I think the idea was that he was just saying people feel like they're getting off the hook.
I agree. Yeah, so I just started, basically just Googling that statement.
Wow.
And came and found that. So
interesting.
Yeah, and then just to continue to go down the track that I was going.
Please.
It's just this kind of stuff, again, just goes with the obesity epidemic and all of that sort of thing is basically like a call to like a failure in willpower, which doesn't really do any good, the food environment is drastically different. There's way more in the food environment as far as like hyper palatable stuff, the easily accessible food deliveries, just everything. It's way different than it was 50 years ago, 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. Things that we're now all up against that, if we were to continue to sit here and say, people just need to basically try harder and you'll kind of figure it out. That just does everybody a disservice,
Sure.
So I know I probably could have phrased that a little differently, but
I think I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, but that isn't to to discount the reality that Harvard 2017, Harvard put out a study that said that 71.6% of all Americans are overweight and 42% are obese in the U.S. Those are huge numbers of Americans. It is a problem, but you're saying it's not just a matter of willpower. There's a lot more going on in our modern day world that is different from, say, 50 years ago.
That makes it harder for sure.
Yeah. So what do we do? Then we know that treating it as a failure in willpower, we know that for a fact that doesn't work. It doesn't get anybody to do anything positively. So we have to use a blend of, sort of the behavioral change talking and the motivational interviewing and all those different strategies with people and amongst ourselves, in addition to, making sure things like making sure people are adhering to statins. They are adhering to, their diabetes medication. They are adhering to a new weight loss medication. All of those things, hopefully plays a synergistic role in decreasing that, some of those numbers that you mentioned.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
but philosophically, yeah, I mean, it's a great question. It is. It's just hard to wrap my head around, just given everything. But
Understood. I just thought it was interesting. I hadn't seen anybody phrase it quite that way.
It's super interesting.